What is going on, YouTube? Games Workshop has dropped the Nerf hammer on Iron Hands, and it is a bummer for me. I want to start this off. I know everybody in the comments might jump in with like, oh, fanboy, bandwagon, faction player, whatever. I used to play Iron Hands in the 90s. I don't care. Uh, I'm not a competitive player. I barely play any events or tournaments. If I do, I usually try only to compete in Best Painted. But these nerfs affect me greatly in how I wanted to play my Iron Hands. And overall, I do think they're actually good for the balance of the game as a whole. It's just disappointing to me because it kind of ruined my whole idea and fun of the army. Also, another caveat, I do not use Forge World of any kind currently or previously, so I don't have Leviathan Dreadnoughts that are unkillable. I don't have Chaplain Dreadnoughts that are untargetable. None of that nonsense. I just was playing with a little bit of variation in my Space Marine army, only Primaris stuff. One Repulsor, a couple Dreadnoughts, Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and a bunch of infantry guys, and that's really about it. And man, that FAQ, I believe in how to fix 40K. I did mention the rolling forward automatically on the doctrines for the Space Marines, which I do think is probably good. Unfortunately, it's bad for Imperial Fists and Iron Hands. Now, that's probably a good thing that they got nerfed a little bit because they were a little out of control. More importantly, we just wish they would make these books a little more play tested before they publish them and charge us $40 or $30 extra for supplements. And now I got to go in and scribble out things and change costs of stratagems and things. It's just kind of a mess. But it's like, I don't know. It's a little irritating, and I'm going to tell you why it affects me. For one, I bought Pharaohs, the Iron Father, and I wanted to have some Space Marine vehicles, preferably some Redemptor Dreadnoughts, maybe in the beginning the Repulsor, around Pharaohs to get a 5-up invuln save. This would make Space Marine vehicles that are rather lackluster a little bit more survivable. And if you've played 40K in the last year, things die very easily if they don't have an invuln save pretty often. And then actually during the Space Marine power creep, without an invuln save, Space Marines are killing Space Marines very efficiently. So it would have been nice to have that. They took that away from him, and they changed his invuln to infantry only. They also changed his healing ability. He can't double heal anymore, which he originally could. And they changed some of the other castle type tactics and nerfed those in the previous errata, which I agreed in the last video I all thought were pretty good. It wasn't my ideal. I would have never bought the $40 Tech Marine, but maybe I'll sell them for like 80 or $100 on eBay and it'll turn out okay. He's almost done and he looks pretty cool. So now the Iron Hands get a couple cool unique things in their supplement. One, they reroll ones to hit with their heavy weapons, and they can move and shoot heavy weapons without penalty. But they can only do this in the Devastator Doctrine. Now, moving and shooting is the most important to me. I would happily lose the +1 AP and happily lose the reroll ones to hit and keep the move and shoot heavy weapons because it made a lot of the Primaris stuff more interesting to play with as an all Primaris Space Marine army. And that means like a Redemptor Dreadnought could walk forward, shoot his Gatling guns, and maybe punch some people in combat in the middle of the board without suffering a penalty to shoot every time he moves. The jump pack Devastator type guys could move and shoot. The snipers could move and shoot their rifles. The bolt rifles, these guys. Eliminators, that's what they're called. And all of this was very interesting to me because it's like, okay, I can take a bunch of the Primaris stuff. I'm a little more mobile. I already have an AdMech army. I don't need another army that's just good at standing still and shooting. I wanted the Space Marines to kind of advance up the board, not Eldar levels advancing, but like, slowly marching forward with Dreadnought support and mowing people down. that's gone after turn 1. So you can move for 1 turn, and then you're going to have to stay still. Now this now makes all your stalker bolt rifle intercessors, which it was really cool to have a faction of Space Marines that just generally did better with that particular rifle. The Death Watch probably do the best with the assault bolt stalker bolter. Most of them do the best with probably the regular bolt rifles, and the Iron Hands could be the stalker bolt rifles. And Imperial Fists were pretty good with all of them, really. But so now my tactical Marines, basically, and intercessors, who were marching up with kind of a heavy rifle gun, almost like a World War II M1 Garand or something, they can't do that anymore, right? They can't move and shoot without suffering a penalty. So you could still give it to them, and they'll be AP3, move and shoot, reroll ones to hit on turn 1, and then they stop, which is really disappointing. I think that hurts a lot of Iron Hands players who maybe wanted to have the more unique weapon option for their army. And once again, I think these changes overall are pretty good. This is just my feelings on why I'm probably actually just getting rid of the Primaris army. They started as Death Watch. I had no fun with them. I played them about 6 times as Iron Hands. Maybe won half, lost half. Had some pretty decent games. I don't really enjoy painting the black armor guy. Like, I have a decent color scheme. I don't really enjoy it. And now my Dreadnought Marine March is gone. So I don't think I care that much about them. My enjoyment and care for them was pretty low, and this nerf kind of takes them off the table. Now I don't think they're going to be first up for sale necessarily, because I have other stuff I need to thin out before I'm worried about it. But I don't think I'm going to be finishing up painting those 3 half-painted Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Probably not going to get to those Eliminators and stuff. Currently I'm painting a friend's Raven Guard army, some of his stuff for commission. So I'm actually still painting Space Marines, so it's hard to paint those and then be like, ooh, let me paint some more for me. Not really what I'm looking for. So those are my thoughts. The unkillable Dreadnought nerfs, good, right? We don't need it, which they did not address the Leviathan Dreadnought or the Chaplain Dreadnought, so we know those are going to just get obliterated or nerfed harder in the new release of the Forge World books when they come out with their new indexes or whatever they're going to call them. I may look at those new books for the Forge World updated rules, because now they've had a chance to maybe see the constant mistakes that those units have provided for 8th edition ever since the very first release of them, when it was like Malefic Lord spam, just recently all the way up to LVOs, Chaplain Dreadnought spam, and a few other honorable mentions, Fire Raptor spam. What was some other ones? There was the Tyrannid -1 to hit, Malanthrope, I think it was called. I don't know. But those are my thoughts. What do you feel about the Space Marine nerf? GW taking a big steamy number 2 right on the Iron Hand's chest. And yeah, I don't know. It made me kind of lose. And I want to still say, I think a lot of these changes are actually good for the overall game because of the environment that people play in when they go to like these big events. It's, you know, pretty... I mean, people look like they're having fun, but for me, that's not necessarily my ideal way to play. So I wasn't leaning heavily into the craziness you could do, and I actually lost the flavorfulness of moving and shooting heavy weapons with this nerf. So I don't think I need them. I think I'm going to stay with just the Admech and Eldar, and they should probably work out for me. But let me know how you feel about it. I think overall it's good. What would you like to change? And if you watched... One side note, if you watched my first GW Takes a Dump on the Iron Hands video, I say when they do these erratas, they never go back and fix them. So they took away the Iron Father's 5-up invuln save. They changed the Iron Stone. They changed the stratagem point cost. They changed, I think, a couple other things. And now they nerfed them again, but there's no decision on like, oh, maybe the Iron Father should give the 5-up invuln to the vehicles now, because he's not going to castle. You're not going to castle up tons of vehicles with +1 AP and re-rolling, you know, all the bonuses that they were having. But did they go back and think about that? Probably not. They just put more errata into it without actually changing back the old errata, which it never happens. I said it in the last video, and all of those changes remain the same with these new ones on top. And again, before anybody, I'm still going to get the comments. I think these are maybe overall good changes. I just hate the big altering things to my books that I paid money for, that it seem like kind of crap products if they have to constantly being fixed by internet FAQs. So that's all I got for you. Talk to you soon.